Welcome back to the Fantasy Overwatch Underground, where I analyze individual players and look at their fantasy impact as we get ready for the 2021 Overwatch season. I can't recommend that you subscribe to this channel unless you've gone so far down the Overwatch rabbit hole that, like me, you're watching the Shanghai Masters. In today's video, I'll be breaking down some of my big takeaways from watching that exhibition match. Quick reminder, when you're watching a match like this, the point's not to see who wins or who's a starter. Don't take it too seriously. Just look at the players and see what you can learn. So, just 3 matches here. Spark and Hunters, Dragons and Charge, and then Dragons and Spark. I, in this video, do not review the final because it was pretty one-sided, and I also will not be talking about the Dragons too much because they're pretty much a known quantity. We'll get into Erster another day. Instead, we're going to focus on Chengdu, Hangzhou, and Guangzhou. So, let's do it. But once again, don't forget, don't take any of this too seriously, all right? Make sure to treat it with braised chicken. Let's go. Highlight number 1 that we're going to look at today is Guangzhou starting off here. We will see some interesting play on a lot of different fronts here. So we're going to go through it pretty slow. First thing we're looking at is Leaves Echo. Architect, very good player. Comes in to attack Leave, who has a Discord Orb. Starts doing some damage, and pop, he's dead immediately. All the damage done by Leave. Great play. Let's ignore that he flies off the cliff afterwards. But great mechanics, great defense. You know, that's the best way to get around a Tracer there. Just kill him immediately. We flash forward 5 seconds, and we see Shy on the McCree, taking some pot shots. Uses his ult to refill his clip. And not anything amazing from Shy. We'll watch this clip one more time just so you can get a little bit more time in his POV. We'll talk about Shy a little bit more later. Decent play from him, though. Instead, we're going to focus here on the high ground. You can see Kaneki, the Tracer from Chengdu up top there, throwing a pulse bomb in. Kind of lobbing it, frisbee golf style here, long range. Bernard is a very well-seasoned and good off-tank. He sees the pulse bomb coming and eats it just to be safe. So, nice play from Bernard there. Nothing too exciting from Kaneki there. I feel like that was a little bit telegraphed, at least, you know, at the Overwatch League level. We see Kaneki up here too. Some interesting movements. Very small thing here, but he gives up the high ground. And you'll also see, I flashed back 5 seconds again. He kind of can't make up his mind. Almost nervously moving here. He jumps off the cliff, looking around. Makes me a little bit uneasy. His movements just aren't that purposeful, that crisp. But then we do see a really nice dive here onto MCD from the Spark. Gets some good damage in there. Is down to 2 HP in recalls. And then this is where Leave does his cleanup duty on the Echo. So we'll watch in slow motion. Leave gets the sticky bombs to kill and finish off what Kaneki started here. And then Leave gets to work. Very nice purple coming from Faraway 1987. If we go back before the dive from Kaneki, you'll also see a very nice sleep coming in from Faraway 1987 on the engage. So Faraway 1987 always with the nice plays. You'll see the sleeping Bernard right there. So part of this, keep in mind, as we get into Leave's cleanup here, really heavily driven by good team play, good dive from Kaneki, good sleep, good purple. But hey, Leave is there to do his cleanup duty. And a very impressive Echo play. Likely to be the team's Echo player, but, you know, we will see. Overall, nice coordinated attack from Chengdu. Great play. And we'll move on to the next one. I feel like the next video here is Peak Chengdu. So first thing, we've got Hangzhou approaching on attack on Route 66. And here is Shy on the Ash trying to take some pot shots at Leave. And you'll see Gaga comes in and bounces him up. I'm going to go to a slower speed here. Oh no. Oh no. There we go. Going to go to a slower speed here. Sorry, this is on Billy Gaming, by the way, if you didn't know, with the Chinese and with the 480p. So we'll see Shy taking pot shots over here. And we'll see him get bounced up above the shield. And he's dead. Nice shot from Leave. Good coordination from he and from Gaga to pull out that play off. And I feel like this is peak Chengdu because You see a really nice dive from Gaga. Reminds you of some of the nice dives that we saw in the past from Ameng. Gaga, as I've mentioned before, has a very good ball. Leave gets a few really nice kills. Just gets the dynamite damage in there. Pops up. And I believe he gets one more here, too. Leave really... I'll get into some more clips of him here in a second. Really been a fantastic player all around. And nice cleanup from him on the first go-around. And we'll flash forward just a little bit to the next fight here. I call it peak Chengdu because, they were always struggling on the tracer side of things last year. Kaneki comes in to fill the tracer role, and I think he does fine. He doesn't do great. I'm not super hyped about him, but he does get the job done on tracer. So you'll see with a nice kill on Shy there. We'll watch it one more time. Doing some good cleanup work in the back after Leave gets things started by killing MCD. So get Shy there, and then you'll see a nice pulse bomb onto Bernard as well. Bernard sees it coming. You'll see him use his shift, but it's a little bit too late. So Kaneki also confirming the kill there on Bernard. Overall, nice plays. Peak Chengdu, but as often as you have peak Chengdu, you also have not peak Chengdu. Kaneki tries to flex on the Genji, and I'll keep this clip short and not so sweet. Not the best play, not so forward-looking, just kind of dashes in. Really doesn't even dash in, just runs in and dies. And we only saw him briefly try to run that Genji, but, it didn't work out so well. I'll cut the clip short there, but Leave on the next fight gets... Actually, no, I'll go ahead and show you. It's painful to watch, but you'll see that Leave has his EMP. Kaneki's very close to Blade, and... that's shaping up for what could be a nice fight, although you'll see MCD has his trance. So you got to play your cards right on this fight here. Leave has his EMP. He gets discovered in the back here, and the timing gets all thrown off. He has to go back. Kaneki uses Blade. They also, Yveltal uses his sound barrier, and Faraway 1987 has used his Nano. And... what's pretty good against the Nano? Transcendence. So, he takes a lot of damage, gets booped away, he ends up dying. Then Leave comes in and uses his EMP, gets 5, but, you've already blown all your ults. Just, that's what exactly not to do against a well-coordinated team. So, as much as I love Peak Chengdu, this is your Valley Chengdu, which always comes along here. I don't think that Kaneki will be the solution to all of their problems. I say he's a fine tracer. He's not amazing. I feel like Reddit kind of came away thinking that he was amazing, that he was the player of the match, at least when I read the comments before actually watching it myself. You'll see Leave gets an entry pick here on MCD. As the fight continues, I believe he gets one more. And, Faraway 1987 gets Architect. So you've now got 2 down. You've got a window here to be aggressive. And we'll get to Kaneki's POV, where he doesn't really get the job done. And, he gets into the back line. He gets some damage in, but he can't confirm the kill. And Hangzhou actually turned this one around really quickly. So I'll go back to this play one more time. It's, it's nothing exciting. He had a chance here. He doesn't efficiently use all of his movement, his abilities. And... it leads to Hangzhou having this chance to turn things around, and they successfully do. The last one that I'll show is, Leave I find is a player that there's very differing opinions on him. This play here is a really nice play on his Ashe, and I feel like of all players, I feel like Jinmu often gets the reputation for having these high highs and low lows. But I feel like more so than even Jinmu, Leave has that. He's had some of the worst play that I've seen of any individual player, DPS-wise, in Overwatch League. If you really want to know what matches, let me know. I'll show you some clips from last year that are not so nice. But going back to this play from Leave, just an amazing shot. He has some potential to be a top DPS player in Overwatch. And this is one of those Ashe plays that really caught my attention. He gets booped into midair and then uses his shift and then hits the shot on Architect. And then it has the LOS in the backline on MCD. Fantastic play. Leave, one of my personal favorites. If Chengdu is going to have a good year behind improved tank play, Leave could be one of the answers to that. So, as a quick roundup, fantasy-wise, first things first, you did see a lot of Elsa, but you also saw some Gaga Monkey along with Ameng Ball. So you think immediately Elsa off-tank, only off-tank on the roster, he will be playing 100% of the time. There will be a rotation in the tank line, even though you may not think it. Second, Kaneki, his Tracer's fine. His Genji, so far, no good. Very small sample size on Echo, but I have to believe that Leave is going to have the Echo role, at least for now. And then Leave looking fantastic on the Ashe. Going back to Kaneki, I'm not sure what the DPS lineup looks like here. If we look at the stats, we see Sombra and Tracer are a place where Chengdu really, really struggled. And if he does come in and play the Sombra, which he did for Team Cat in Contenders, he could allow Jinmu to specialize a little bit further. If you take some of the Tracer responsibilities from Leave, it would allow Leave to focus on that Ashe, focus on the Widow and those hit scans that Mr. Bacon Jack used to fill. So, in my best guess right now, Kaneki comes in and plays some Tracer and Sombra. It doesn't mean Leave won't ever be on the Tracer, but it does allow him to take that more hit scan role and become an absolute beast in that role that we know we've seen him be. The Tracer kind of up in the air though. So I don't quite have this lineup nailed down. I'm not the biggest fan of Kaneki yet, and I still don't understand why he was picked up over Dia. This roster would be a lot scarier if we had Dia here, but it does make me think that they have other things in mind for Kaneki, that he's they didn't need another hit scan. They've got that covered in Leave. So Kaneki's here to fill some of the other specialized roles, maybe to be the Eileen of Chengdu. That's it for the Hunters. I'm going to spend the most time on them, but next up is Hangzhou. So we'll take a look at Architect, but first we'll take a look at Shy. We got one of our first good looks on that player, the new hit scan for Hangzhou, and we'll see a pretty nice clip here. Unfortunately, not too much from him on the cast. Not that he was a bad player. You'll see here Leave gets the opening pick on Architect on Route 66, and then he pushes the advantage and goes forward quite a bit, looking to get some additional kills here. He has a window to get in some nice shots, but Shy one taps him in the head as he's in midair. Maybe a little bit of a mistake to use his shift and make himself vulnerable here. He was looking for a good sightline, but Shy really took advantage of it, took him down pretty quickly. So Shy wins that 1v1 duel. We saw earlier Shy lose the duel as Gaga was pile driving on him. And it's a little bit, it's not concerning yet, but Shy came out on the short end of the duels against Leave more often than not. They did advance, they beat the Hunters and they go on to play the Dragons. And Shy, he held his own. The hit scan players we saw, I would definitely put him below Kaylee and below Leave. But at the same time, I think he's respectable. We saw the McCree, we saw the Ashe, and he was fine. He's not a red flag as a bad player, but I'm also not as excited for him as I am for some of the other players that we've seen. I don't want to spend too much time on Architect, but I have to give the guy some love. He is such a great player. We don't always think of him as a Tracer, but he gets Faraway 1987, and then we see him go to work. So one quick clip, just because I can't go a whole 2 matches without showing some Architect love. He really just, he outplayed Kaneki on the Tracer, and throughout all the series, very impressed with his level of play. So, not something you didn't already know, but it's always fun to watch some Architect. So take a quick Wikipedia look at the Spark. I really don't know what to make of this team on who's going to play versus who's not. So if we look at their current DPS lineup, we've got Godsby, we've got Architect, we've got Shy, and we've also got So Min Soo himself. Part of me likes to think that, old man Godsby at age 24 is passing the torch to Shy as, someone who just turned 18, 6-year difference between those players. the general narrative or storyline is, Godsby's passing the torch to Shy. So we'll see them split time early on in the year, with Shy hopefully learning from the veteran and becoming the prodigy that we've been hoping he would become. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not super excited to draft either of them early, but Shy is one of those guys to keep an eye on in the early season and in the midseason, and see that if you do get those highlights where he's really starting to pop, then pick him up quickly. But at least at the start of the year, I'm not worried that he's bad. I can't say that he's clearly better than Godsby. I think there's going to be a changing of the guard at some point. I just don't know when that will be. Last up, we have Guangzhou, and I know I've already specifically reviewed them in a couple videos back, but I am sorry, I gotta show some more MYKaylee, and we also saw some ChoiSehwan. Unfortunately, this is a double hit scan meta, and you'll see in the clip here on his McCree, nothing that exciting. He played the McCree a lot better than he played the Ashe. He also didn't play a whole lot, which I think is more so further evidence that he is no hyperflex. He is a projectile player who's off-rolling here, and he's respectable, but small mechanics, things like this, the flashbang not in range, his aim wasn't amazing, and so, he's not a hyperflex. His McCree was okay, and his Ashe was not okay. It was rather poor, but I let the clip keep going because we often forget how good of a player Eileen is, and I had to show some more of his. Much like Architect, he's much more of a known quantity, but here we see him scaring Void, avoiding shots. He'll actually force out the Orisa pull. He baits out the shift, and they switch away from him for a second, but we see him moving around, dancing around, keeping his health high. And he gets a good window for a pulse bomb here on DM. And even though they snap away, you see DM right here in the middle of the screen. And you'll see the kill feed. The pulse bomb goes off. He gets the kill on DM. And then he has an amazing kill on Izayaki here afterwards. Dives in. Lee Jae-gon is positioned perfectly. I'm going to go back. Got perfect positioning from your Brig player. But, sometimes perfect positioning is not good enough against perfect play. Eileen looking really good on the Tracer. I still think he has to be the team's Tracer. That said, I don't think we ever see him on the Ashe, because why would you do that when you have MYKaylee here? I want to show these clips because MYKaylee is somewhat of an unknown quantity. And I've showed some clips before of MYKaylee looking very good, but this is MYKaylee against DM, and we know how good DM is. So DM on the Ashe is looking around, and you'll see in the kill feed top right, MYKaylee gets Molly here, one-shots him, and DM immediately knows MYKaylee's in this window, so he knows the exact positioning. And you'll see they have a nice little duel here, and MYKaylee shuts him down. So MYKaylee opens up the second fight on Route 6 or on King's Row with 2 kills, one of those being on DM, going toe-to-toe with someone that we know is a really, really good Ashe. Next clip up. I can't go too long without one of your classic Kareev sleep darts. These are always a lot of fun. He actually had, I want to say, 3 pretty insane sleep darts, and they're just fun to watch. Kareev's a fun player to watch, and as much as I enjoy watching Kareev, I'll admit I'm actually not a very big fan of his. His sleep darts, yes, they're amazing, but he has holes in his gameplay. He is not one of the best Zenyatas, and we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to my Kareev hate here in a second. First, we have one more clip from MYKaylee. Really nice pot shot here, taking some damage. And let me slow things down just a little bit because otherwise you'll miss it with the 480p here. But really, really nice aim. Nice headshots here from MYKaylee. Just constantly impressing me with his hit scan play. So really nice headshot. I know it's blurry, but wow, what a shot there on Architect, I believe. Sorry, Erster. My bad. Wrong match. Nice headshot on Erster. So, on a closing note for this team, I've gotta give Kareev just a little bit of hate here on his Zenyatta play. Overall, the Charge are kind of cleaning things up here, but that's thanks to Kaylee with the shots here. If I go back to Kaylee one time real quickly, he gets a nice couple shots, but Kareev with the embarrassing pistol down from Lee Jae-gon. Oh boy. Nice play from Lee Jae-gon, but come on, Kareev. Overall, I'm definitely a little bit worried about his being the only flex support for the team. Just given that we know he can hit some insane plays on the Ana with his sleep darts, but his positioning always a little bit questionable, and then his Zen also a little bit worrisome. But hey, you got Kaylee in the front line doing this, sometimes things are just going to click. So, Kaylee's the real deal. ChoiSehwan, still the jury's out on his overall level of play. Like I said before, I think he's a really good projectile player, but he is not the hyperflex that you might hope for. And that's about it. I won't show any stats here because I showed those a couple episodes back, but I hope this was a helpful review of some of the highlights from the Shanghai Masters.